Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And welcome to St. Peter's Church. Thank you so much for your presence here tonight to honor Claire Daly. My name is Vince Carr. I'm the music director here at St. Peter's, and I just wanted to give a little bit of an announcement for kind of housekeeping, if you will. We will still have people coming in, probably for the next half hour. So if you can see around you, if there's any space that is near you that could be used by someone for a seat, I'd really appreciate it if you could make that available for them so that when they come in, they'll have a place to sit. If you did not get a program, our lovely ushers are right up there, and we've restocked their programs. So Claire Daly sold us out tonight, and we printed some more programs for her. So if you need any, please feel free to see them on your way in. Any latecomers can come in this way. Those in the back, if you don't mind, this is being live streamed both on YouTube and on Facebook via the St. Peter's account. And so if you see cameras back there, please don't stand in front of them because they will obstruct the view of the camera. And we want this to be a really memorable video and a remembrance of this evening. Okay. Wow. Very, very well-behaved crew here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove myself and invite our MC up to begin this evening's celebration. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Rob Battles. It's wonderful to be here with fellow members of the Claire Galaxy. It's a coast-to-coast and worldwide group of people lucky enough to have played a supporting and supported role in the life and times of the beautiful and singular Claire Daly. Claire's goddaughter reminded me of one of Claire's many skills, the art of the hang. And when we're done here, we'll be hanging with snacks through those doors. And that's where the bathrooms are as well. And when they throw us out of here, we can all go down to Small's Jazz Club in the West Village, where Cheryl Bailey and George Garzone, Peter Slavov and Ian Froman will demonstrate that Claire Daly lives. That's my shirt. The music will keep going right into Claire's birthday, which is tomorrow. And you can go to smallslive.com if you are one of the few people here who doesn't know how to get to the club. I met Claire nearly 50 years ago, at Michael's Pub in Boston, where George and the Fringe were playing every Monday night. And I ran into her unexpectedly about 20 years later at a meeting where I was a frightened newcomer and Claire was a beloved longtime member of that community. I'm just one of the many hundreds of people who Claire helped in that fellowship. Her good counsel and impeccable example are second to none. Claire Daly's friends and loved ones number in the thousands. And 4 of them will share their thoughts about Claire, her lifelong friend Ann Draddy, and 3 musicians from Claire's life as a creative artist, Cheryl Bailey, Troy Roberts, and George Garzone, after which George, bassist John Lockwood, and drummer Francisco Mela, the trio The Fringe, that's right, The Fringe from 50 years ago, will play for us and for Claire. Right now, I'd like to invite Ann Draddy to come up.
Hi, Claire fans. How y'all doing? We love our girl, and it seems like today's the day. I'm deeply honored and moved to be here with each one of you in this room and with everybody online. I think we have a lot of people online tonight. The first time I remember seeing Claire was when we were both 10 years old. We took ballet in the basement of a church. We weren't in the same class, so we didn't know each other, but I remember her at the end of year recital. Claire was marching across the stage wearing a green tutu, carrying a baton with her red hair flying. She was leading the other girls in McNamara's band. That was Claire's first gig as a band leader. The second time I remember seeing her was around Easter. We were freshmen at an all-girls Catholic high school in Westchester County. We had what they called an out-of-uniform day. We didn't have to wear our blue plaid pleated skirts or our periwinkle blue blazers, but we were told in no uncertain terms we couldn't wear tube tops, jeans, carpenter pants, or our favorite green army pants. In an act of protest, Claire and our very good friend Mary Beth here decided on a different dress code. That morning, walking down the hall, I spied two tall females approaching in heels, flowered pastel dresses, yellow and purple Easter bonnets, with mink stoles around their necks, and cigarette holders between their fingers. And my immediate thought, I got to get to know these two. And when Claire passed away on October 22nd, we had been the best of friends for 52 years. So I beat your Rob by a couple of years. One of the many things I love about Claire is the mischievous sparkle in her eyes when she has a good idea. Have you seen that before? She has that little gleam. Well, I first saw it in high school. Claire seemed to wander the halls, peeking into closets and opening forbidden doors. Once she appeared at the lunch table and told us to grab our backpacks and meet her down the hall. She had found this secret room filled with boxes and boxes of fundraiser candy. We quickly cleaned out the place, stuffing all the candy into our mouths and our backpacks. Today, some might call it efficient supply chain management. In Claire's wanderings, she discovered unconsecrated hosts right before Mass was to begin. We ate them greedily. They were only delicious because they were forbidden. With all her mischief, Claire was very well liked. She was a really good visual artist. I don't know if you know that about Claire. She can really draw, and she's done a lot of comics. She was editor of the school newspaper. She was editor of our yearbook. And she was recognized by the New York Times for her accomplishment in the field of high school journalism. Right? I found that when I was cleaning her stuff out. I forgot. Claire was the youngest of 4 kids, and her oldest brother was 18 years old when she was born. Her parents were kind of done by that time. And Claire seemingly had unlimited access to go out at any hour of day or night and had keys to her father's yellow Galaxy 500 company car. And she loved to drive, and we spent hours and hours joyriding. After high school, Claire went off to Berkeley with her alto and arrived a few years later in New York and picked up the Barry. At 26, she walked into the AA rooms and never looked back. This January, last month, Claire would have been 40 years sober. She would have celebrated her 40th straight year, and she was really proud about that. And I know there's a lot of people here today who are connected with her. She connected with tons of people in the program. Once when I was visiting her, we were walking on the Upper East Side after she had only lived there a short time, and we passed someone on the street, and they said, "Hi, Claire." And I thought, well, she's getting to know people. That's great. And then another person walked by and said, "Hey, Claire," and then another person. And I said, "Claire, how do you know all these people?" And she said, "Oh, a meeting just got out down the street." Claire and I felt we had lived many lifetimes together, probably as nuns a few times, and we considered ourselves sisters, the kind one chooses. Once, as adults, we even pinpricked our fingers and rubbed the blood together. Sisters forever. What was it that attracted so many of us to Claire? The beloved baritone saxophone player, as NPR called her. Well, Claire was funny as hell, and she was an extrovert. She loved people. She loved to yap, or gab, as she called it. She was big-hearted, authentic, and generous in mentoring and supporting others both in jazz and in AA. After Claire was diagnosed in the fall of 2023, I put up her GoFundMe page, and $50,000 was raised in less than one day. On her Caring Bridge page, there's been almost 900 individual people visiting and over 13,000 clicks. It's stunning how much reach and how much impact she had. All those years, she was connecting with people and developing friendships and relationships. While I was clearing out her apartment recently, I found a life planner. One topic in the book was things I would have done differently. Claire wrote, "Through the ups and downs, I still believe I did the right thing with my life. Music reached me deeply, and I hope I served it properly." I thought that was classic Claire, reflecting on what was true for herself and at the same time hoping she served her community well. During her last year on the planet, Claire told me several times she had no regrets. She chose the life she wanted, starting at a Buddy Rich concert she attended with her beloved father when she was 12 years old. These last few months, I've really missed having Claire on the planet. I'm sure many of you feel the same way. She was someone I could talk to about everything, from the spiritual to the mundane. She listened with big ears. She was always on my side, supporting me, encouraging me, and making me laugh. I'm going to finish by talking a little about Claire's last few weeks on the planet. Nadia and Coulter, who are here today, they run the 9-acre organic farm in Longmont, Colorado, just outside of Boulder, where Claire was staying. They quickly realized that Claire was too weak to get back to New York. And although they had no experience with what was about to happen, they immediately opened their hearts and their doors. We all began flying in to be with Claire. And the Iranian poet Rumi said, "Step out of the circle of time and into the circle of love." And that's what we did in Longmont. In order to help Claire as well as us, we brought in a doula. You may have heard of a birth doula when somebody's having a baby. We hired Nicole, a death doula, and she was wonderful. She led us in ritual, and the musicians among us played instruments. And then each of us shared with Claire how much she meant to us and how much we loved her. She was physically surrounded by the 10 of us who held her in our love. But standing right beside us, right next to us, were many of you, hundreds of you. You wrote about your moments of connection with Claire. You shared your memories of how she touched your lives, how meaningful she was to you, and what a badass Barry player she was. Some of you were able to talk to her on speakerphone to express your love in words and music. We read your posts to her. She heard you. Your stories lit up her smile. All the love, prayers, wishes, and light we collectively bestowed upon Claire helped her prepare to slip away, to begin her new adventure. What a gift we were able to give her for the big gift of herself that she gave each one of us. And now to Claire, my sister, wherever you are, our love, the love of everybody here, is accompanying you as you move through your journey. And I feel you're accompanying us too as we move through ours. Peace.
cherries. Don't take it serious, it's too mysterious. You work, you save, you worry so, but you can't take your dough when you go. So keep repeating, it's the berries. The strongest oak must fall. The sweet things in life to you were just love. So how can you lose what you never owned? Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at it all. Oh, life is just a bowl of cherries. Don't take it serious.
Not too serious.
It's too mysterious.
It's mysterious.
You work and you save. You worry so, but you can't take your dough when you go. So keep repeating, it's the berries.
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 It's the berries. It's the berries. It's the berries. It's the berries. It's the berries.
It's the berries, 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 berries.
It's the berries. Help me welcome Cheryl Bailey.
Cancer sucks. I hate it, and we hate it, because it is taken away. And when I say mine, I mean all of ours. 3 a.m. friend. The one you call from anywhere, anytime, when you need compassion, consolation, but also maybe congrats and some comedy. No dream was ever off limit to dream with Claire. She was our free spirit, dream-catching cheerleader, the one to egg you on to find your courage, like now, my friend, to never judge, and was the ultimate ear when you just needed to be heard. This is a quote from Seth, which is, we'll talk about a little later here. You are sometimes wiser, more creative, and far more knowledgeable when you are dreaming than when you are awake. Meeting Claire changed my life. It could not have ever been the same. It was like meeting the mayor who gave you a magic key to the city. She was one of the first person I met arriving in the big pond from the little pond of Baltimore. Sorry, my Baltimore friends. A jam session at the Angry Squire. I'm sure there are many of you who went there, remember that place. She just came up to me, and her openness and friendliness made me know I'm gonna be okay. I can do this. I can come to New York and make my dream come true. Because I met the mayor, who gave me the key to the city, everywhere I went, jam session, a rehearsal, a club, even walking down the street, if I had my guitar with me, people would just say, "Hey, you're that cool guitar player that Claire Daly told me about." I was in. She supported me from that very early moment. She was always our cheerleader, the true rah, rah, rah. I also know for a fact that many folks here in this room and on the live stream are here on the planet because of Claire. Claire was a lifesaver, and her dedication to sobriety, recovery, and therapy changed lives, connected people, and gave hope and inspiration to countless souls for decades. In this way, she was everyone's 3 a.m. friend, there for support and for hope, and the highest of humanitarian ideals. That was Claire Daly to me. I hope I can live up to that legacy. Claire was also deeply spiritual, and our time together exploring esoteric writings, meditating, pulling runes, mapping our visions are some of my fondest and most powerful moments with Claire. Claire's essence was to inspire us to dig deeper, be freer, be creative, live joyously, celebrate music and art, and to always be open to wonder and the cosmic flow. Also to laugh, which we did, and I know you've had those moments of laughter where you just couldn't breathe and your side hurt, and it was just really made you feel alive. The Seth books by Jane Roberts were touchstones for us, and I want to share a few Sethisms from the Eternal Validity of the Soul. I feel like I couldn't give a dedication to Claire in this moment without bringing up Seth. Seth taught that we are in a state of grace, born into a 3D world, and that the 3D world instructs us to not know that we are in a state of grace. When we dream, whether we're asleep or awake, we reunite with our eternal and rightful state of grace. Claire's favorite quote was, "In many ways, you are dead now, and as dead as you'll ever be." Which meant, here in our 3D reality, with all the distractions and the confusion, it blocks us knowing our true state of grace. So I would just like to take a moment with everybody here, because I know that Claire is here with us. I feel you, girl. And if we all just take a few moments and close your eyes and connect with your own state of grace and our collective state of grace and Claire's, and send her off to her next adventure. Extremely surreal to be here today, but I'm so glad to see so many friends and reconnect. I want to bring up something that it almost feels like my destiny. I'm the assistant chair of guitar at Berklee College of Music, and that position has allowed me to make the connections that we could start the Claire Daly Legacy Fund. So I mean, I almost feel like I'm looking at that whole trajectory to bring me to now. There are QR codes to give in the program, or if you are out there, just look up Berkeley Claire Daly Legacy Fund. When the fund becomes endowed, it goes on beyond us. It's going to go on beyond me, beyond you, and it's important that we keep that legacy alive. For me, a little selfishly, I have to say, I will be there at those events every year handing out that award, and I'll be able to speak to every one of the people that receive that award, and I'm going to tell them all these things about Claire, so that long after we are gone here, they will know and share that passion for being alive, that passion for dreaming, the passion for being in a state of grace. One last thing. She was full of laughter and life. And I have to do this because we said we'd do it for each other. When we were in that points of our life where our mortality seemed playful and we're going to be here forever. I know many of you know the old Mary Tyler Moore Show. And if you don't, please look up this clip of Chuckles the Clown's funeral. We laughed always over this, and I looked it up the other day. So if you know the phrase, you can join me. But Claire, my dear sister, my friend to the end, I offer you a little song, a little dance, a little seltzer down your pants. I love you.
Hi, I'm Walter Smith III, Chair of Woodwinds here at Berklee College of Music, friend and longtime admirer of Claire Daly and her music. I'm here to talk to you about something very close to my heart, which is the Claire Daly Legacy Fund. For those of you fortunate enough to have known Claire, you know that she was much more than just a master of the baritone saxophone. She was a pioneer in a male-dominated jazz world, a mentor, and a fierce advocate for women in music. Through her music and her teaching, she changed lives and inspired countless musicians, including me. Today, we are raising funds for the Claire Daly Legacy Fund, which is a scholarship that will support Berklee students, especially female saxophonists and woodwind players, in their musical journeys, just as Claire once did. This fund will provide opportunities for students to follow their passion for jazz and music at Berklee, so I'm asking for your help. Every gift to the Claire Daly Legacy Fund directly supports students at Berklee who share Claire's spirit of creativity and determination. Your contribution will ensure that Claire's impact on music continues for generations to come. If you're ready to make a gift, please click the donation button, and we so thank you for your support in honoring Claire and helping the next generation of musicians pursue their dreams.
I'd like to see a show of hands of all of those who are planning before they go to bed tonight to make that contribution to the... Okay, look to your left and look to your right. Whoever doesn't have a hand up, do that or that. Please help me welcome Troy Roberts up.
Claire and I were tight. We spent a lot of our downtime hanging out, and when we had a string of free days, we would refer to this as epic hang. Our hangs were based on music, cigars, shooting pool, movies, laughing at the stupidest of things, discussions on life's heaviness, long talks, and also long silences, watching the sky from her rooftop, which she called Splendor Palace. She was the only one of my American friends who was into the same kind of creatively strange humor I love so much. I was so jealous when she got to see one of our favourite British comedians, Noel Fielding, live in New York City while I was on the road. I certainly never took this kind of friendship for granted, but now that she's transcended, I really realise just how rare this kind of friendship is. I got to hear about many of her close friends from other circles outside of music, and now that I've finally met many of these people in the last 6 months, it's no wonder that they were tight with Claire. She attracted such a unique pool of creative, loving, genuine characters who also knew of Claire's other orbits, including the one we had. So I feel like I've known some of the new faces in here today for a very long time. Now our beloved Claire is physically no longer on this earth, but here she is still bringing people together. I would like to share a story with you all. The two of us would take advantage of those upstate gigs by leaving way early, looking for good coffee and smoking cigars. This one time she came along early to hang at my gig up in Tarrytown, and during the car ride, we had gotten deep into this John Patitucci album, One More Angel, featuring Michael Brecker. By the time we got to the title track, we were parked and both just lost in the music, specifically in Mike's sound. So lost that I think we even forgot each other were there. We both had tears down our faces by the time that tune had finished. Fast forward to the gig, during the intermission, I was talking to a lovely lady named Susan, who knew a lot about jazz and specifically the saxophone. Claire came along at one point to say hello to this friend of hers, interrupting our conversation only to say, "You do realise this is Susan Brecker, Mike's widow, right?" Perhaps I was looking into this too deeply, but I had a shiver down my spine because we had Mike in our ears the whole car ride down, and she never even mentioned that she knew Mike or Susan. What are the chances? I know there's many people in this room with crazy stories who would agree that Claire had this strange ability to more than often conjure up these seemingly magical coincidences in the most nonchalant manner. She named some of my once untitled compositions just in the nick of time before pressing, just by listening and then saying what she felt and thought. This sums up the heart of who she was in our friendship, completely vulnerable. She would take the time to listen and always knew just what to say. I know she's up there touched by this beautiful celebration of her life, but I also think she knows this is all for us. I think she's just over the moon at the thought of all her orbits converging today in one big epic hang. Thank you, Claire.
Heaven help the child who never had a home. And heaven help the girl who walks the street alone. Heaven help the roses if the bombs begin to fall. Heaven help us all. Heaven help the one who struggles one more day. And heaven help the one who turns his back away. Heaven help the man who kicks the man who has to crawl. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Hear our call when we fall. age 21. And heaven help the man who gave that boy a gun. Heaven help the people with their backs against the wall. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Hear our call when we fall. Now I lay me down before I go to sleep. In a troubled world, I pray my soul to keep hatred from the mighty, and the mighty from the small. Heaven help us all.
The last time I went out to hear some music with Claire, we went to hear a fellow who was going to come up and make some remarks and then make some music. Help me welcome George Garzellon.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Voo for Frances. I helped Claire to name that record. She's like, well, I'm gonna do this record. And I was like, Claire, can I play on one tune? No, you play on the whole thing. Well, what am I gonna call it? Well, you know, it's like a voo thing. Why don't you call it Voo for Frances? And that's what it was. I bring the saxophone to the stand because 7 years ago I did the same thing for my son who passed. And Claire came up and she supported me. So here I am now. And they're probably up there going nuts together with Miles Davis and John Coltrane. I can see them, I can feel her, you know, it's like something I'll never get over, but, you know, you've got to move on. So Claire studied with me in around 1976. I was like, wow, this girl has a great vibe. And then Rob talked about Michael's, and this place was kind of like a seedy Boston jazz club. That's why they hired the Fringe. So, as you know, I'm an avant-garde jazz musician, so we never write anything down, so I don't have anything. I'm just winging it, right, Scott? I mean, half the people here study with me. I'm proud of these kids because, you know, they make me famous. So, I hope. I don't know what they're saying behind my back. But anyway, one night, Michael's like, hey, Gars, some of these bartenders are stealing my money. Do you know anyone that would, you know, don't make me laugh. You know anyone I could hire that won't steal? You know, I said, yeah, I have this student, and she's really cool, Claire Daly. So I got Claire Daly in there, and this is when Rich Appleman was in the group, and so everything was cool, but I think Michael was losing money from all the Rolling Rock beers that Rich was drinking. And, you know, so, but it was cool, you know, these guys, you know. So just quickly, because I bring the saxophone for the stand because Jeff Tain, when I barged in and sat in on his birthday at Dizzy's, he's like, bring your Excalibur. I'm like, what the hell is an Excalibur, you know? Bring your Excalibur. I'm like, I didn't know what it was. So I learned that, and all the musicians know, you protect yourself hiding behind your instrument. You know, even the strongest men are babies when it comes to things like this. But, you know, Claire we were really close. I remember the first time I was teaching in New York, I was at a Thai restaurant with Judy Silvano, and it was snowing like crazy, and I've never seen trash trucks with snow plows on them. I'm like, what the hell is that? And Judy's like, yeah, that's how they plow right? And the next thing, Claire Daly walks by. And I go to the front and I go, Claire Daly. She's like, what the hell are you doing here? Oh, I'm teaching here. So this is when we started this whole thing. I was living with Cheryl Bailey, Ingrid Jensen, and Claire Daly, and moi. And it was really something I'll never forget. So anyway, that's the story of my life. I don't know what else to tell you. She was like, we were like blood. She came and supported me with the kid. She knew everything about my family. She knew everything about me, some things you might not want to know. But, you know, she would kind of godmother me on a few things here and there. But, you know, it's something I'll never get over. I mean, she's still here. She won't go away. So, and that's one thing you gotta live by. And that Voo for Francis, to me, without, you know, insulting anyone, was the best record she ever did. Right, John? The best record. And I never barge my way onto records unless I feel it necessary, like the Tiberian. No, really, I'm really a nice guy once you get to know me, you know. But the only time I've ever barged was on the Tiberian mode with Lovano and Tiberian. I was like, Frank, I gotta be on this record. That, and then for Voo for Francis, and it was a landmark situation for her. So enough of the blah blah. Let me bring the boys up. John Lockwood and Francisco Mela, 50 years on the Fringe.
Francisco Mela. John Lockwood. George Garzone. The Fringe. The hang continues through those doors, and we'll see you all at Smalls, or as many of you as can get in. But let's hang with Claire.
baby.